My name is Ryan, and on the surface, I'm just another 22-year-old guy trying to figure out his place in the world. I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood, in a house that always felt a little too small for the weight of secrets it carried. My parents traveled often for work, leaving the place mostly to me and my younger sister, Lily. She was 19, bright, effortlessly stylish, and always the center of attention. Everything about her seemed natural. Her charm, her fashion sense, her ability to walk into a room and have people notice her without even trying. I was the opposite. Reserved, a little awkward, with a tendency to blend into the background. To most people, I was just Emma's boyfriend or Lily's older brother. Nobody ever asked about what I wanted, who I really was, or what thoughts haunted me late at night. Because the truth was, I had a secret. One that felt too heavy to share, too fragile to expose to the light. For as long as I could remember, I had been drawn to things I wasn't supposed to be drawn to. Lily's dresses, her heels neatly lined against the wall, her lip glosses scattered across her vanity. They called out to me in ways I couldn't explain. It wasn't about wanting to be her, exactly, but about wanting to feel what she felt when she slipped into those clothes, when she looked at herself in the mirror and smiled with that unshakable confidence. Every time I passed her room, my heart would race. The fabric of a floral dress peeking from her closet door seemed to whisper to me, daring me to touch it. My fingers would twitch, my chest tightening with a mix of shame and curiosity. I told myself it was harmless, just curiosity. But curiosity had a way of growing into something else. The only person who seemed to sense something was Emma, my girlfriend of 2 years. She was kind, warm, with a laugh that made even the dullest days feel brighter. But she was also perceptive. Too perceptive sometimes. She'd catch me staring a little too long at a mannequin in a store window, or running my hand absent-mindedly over a silk blouse in a shop. She never said anything outright, but I could see the questions in her eyes. And that terrified me, because Emma was everything I thought I wanted. A girlfriend who cared about me, who loved me for who I was. But did she really know me? Could she ever accept the truth that part of me longed to slip into dresses, to paint my face with colors, to experience the world from the other side of the mirror? That night it all began. The house was quiet. Lily had gone out with her friends, leaving her room empty and inviting. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at my phone, scrolling mindlessly, but my mind was elsewhere. The thought of her closet, her makeup table, her heels, lingered like a forbidden fruit. My pulse quickened. I told myself I'd just look. Just for a moment. Nobody would know. My feet carried me across the hallway before my brain could catch up. The door to her room creaked as I pushed it open, revealing a space that felt more alive than my own. Posters lined her walls, perfume lingered in the air, and clothes were draped casually over her chair. Her vanity sparkled with makeup products I didn't even know the names of. And then, there it was, a pale blue dress hanging neatly in her closet. Simple, yet elegant, with a softness that seemed to beg for touch. My fingers brushed against the fabric, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. I knew I shouldn't, but the urge was overwhelming. I slipped the dress from the hanger and held it against myself, my reflection in her full-length mirror staring back at me. For a moment I froze. I looked ridiculous, holding it up, my messy hair and plain t-shirt clashing with the delicate fabric. But somewhere beneath that awkwardness, I felt a spark. My heart pounded in my chest as I pulled off my shirt and slid into the dress. The cool fabric against my skin sent a wave of heat through me. It fit loosely, but the sensation was enough to steal my breath. I turned to the mirror, and for the first time, I saw something different. Not just Ryan. Not just the boy who faded into the background. Someone else. Someone braver. Someone prettier. I stood there, transfixed, my hands smoothing over the dress, my cheeks flushed with a mix of embarrassment and exhilaration. I had imagined this moment 1,000 times, but reality was sharper, more electric. Then came the sound that shattered everything. The front door creaked open. My body froze. Lily wasn't supposed to be home yet. I scrambled, heart racing, as footsteps echoed down the hall. Panic surged through me. I grabbed at the zipper, fumbling to get out of the dress, but the fabric clung stubbornly. My hands shook, sweat gathering on my brow. "Ryan." Lily's voice carried through the house. I nearly dropped dead on the spot. Every muscle in my body locked. My reflection stared back at me, wide-eyed and terrified, a boy caught in the act of becoming something else. I didn't know whether to hide, to run, or to beg the universe to turn back time. But one truth was clear: my secret was about to collide with reality. The sound of the front door closing echoed through the house like a gunshot, and my entire body went rigid. My breath caught in my throat, and the weight of the blue dress seemed to triple. "Ryan." Lily's voice floated up the stairs again, casual, unsuspecting. I pressed myself against the wall, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. Maybe she was just grabbing something. Maybe she'd be gone again in a minute. I didn't dare answer, didn't dare move. The footsteps paused, then retreated toward the kitchen. Relief washed over me, shaky and incomplete. She hadn't come upstairs. Not yet. But the scare had awakened something sharper inside me. My secret was more fragile than I'd ever admitted, hanging by a thread that could snap at any moment. And yet, despite the terror, another emotion burned even brighter: thrill. I looked back at myself in the mirror. The pale blue fabric clung softly to me, skimming my shoulders and chest, flowing down my body in a way that felt both foreign and intoxicating. My reflection didn't look like Ryan, the quiet, forgettable older brother. My reflection looked like someone I'd always been chasing, someone just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to step forward. It should have been enough. I should have peeled the dress off, shoved it back on the hanger, and buried the moment where it belonged, in the shadows. But I couldn't. Instead, I crossed the room to Lily's vanity, my hands trembling as I traced the scattered lipsticks and brushes. The little jars and tubes were foreign tools, mysteries I had never dared to touch. But tonight, with adrenaline coursing through me, I couldn't resist. I picked up a tube of lipstick, the cap clicking open to reveal a deep crimson shade. My hand shook as I brought it closer to my lips, then paused. My heart hammered. "Don't do it," I whispered to myself. But my reflection leaned closer, daring me. The first stroke of color felt clumsy, uneven, but electric. My lips tingled under the weight of it. I stared at the smeared line, half horrified, half exhilarated. I tried again, steadier this time. And slowly, the boy in the mirror softened, changed. I found a compact of powder and brushed it clumsily across my face, choking a little on the scent. My hands fumbled through eyeliner, mascara, smudging more than I applied, but it didn't matter. With every imperfect stroke, the reflection staring back at me became less familiar and more magnetic. When I slipped my feet into a pair of Lily's black heels, my knees wobbled dangerously, the shift in balance foreign and almost comical. But when I straightened, standing taller, my calves tightening, a rush of power surged through me. For the first time, I wasn't just playing dress-up. I was transforming, and it felt right. But underneath the exhilaration, fear gnawed at me. What if Lily walked in? What if Emma ever found out?
Emma.
Her name alone was enough to twist my stomach. She had been patient, loving, always encouraging me to open up. And yet I had built a wall between us, brick by brick, out of fear she'd see the part of me I kept locked away. What would she say if she saw me like this, lipstick smeared, wobbling in heels, drowning in her suspicion? Would she laugh? Would she walk away? The thought stung sharper than I expected. Downstairs, I heard the faint clatter of dishes, Lily moving around in the kitchen, oblivious. My time was running out, but I couldn't stop. I twirled slightly, the hem of the dress brushing against my thighs, the heels clicking faintly on the wooden floor. A laugh, soft, startled, escaped my lips. I had never laughed like that before, not at myself, not with that much freedom. But then the laughter died as quickly as it came, replaced by a chill. The stairs creaked. "Ryan, you home?" Lily's voice was closer now, carrying a hint of curiosity. My blood froze. I stumbled toward the closet, nearly tripping on the heels, my hands clawing at the zipper of the dress. It stuck halfway down, my fingers slipping. The footsteps grew louder. I yanked harder, panic swelling in my chest, but the zipper wouldn't budge. My breath came in ragged gasps as I darted toward her vanity, grabbing tissues to wipe at the lipstick, smearing it worse. The doorknob rattled. I nearly screamed. And then, silence. A text buzzed on my phone across the room. I snatched it up, praying it wasn't Lily catching on. It was Emma. "Hey babe, can I come over? Miss you, red heart." My stomach dropped.
Emma.
Tonight. The timing couldn't have been worse. I stared at the message, my reflection looming behind the screen. Red lips smeared, eyeliner crooked, blue dress clinging to me, heels trembling under my weight. I looked like a stranger caught between two worlds. And suddenly, the weight of it all pressed down harder. Lily's footsteps still lingered nearby. Emma was on her way, and I was trapped in a body that no longer felt simple. I thought slipping into my sister's dress would be a small thrill, a secret taste of something forbidden. But already, it was unraveling everything I thought I knew about myself. I swallowed hard, gripping the vanity, staring at the boy-girl hybrid in the mirror, the secret I could never explain. And then, faintly, I heard it, Lily's footsteps stopping right outside the door. "Ryan," she called again. Her hand pressed against the door. And I knew I had only seconds before my entire world came crashing down. The door handle turned. My lungs locked, my whole body seizing as Lily's voice slipped through the crack. "Ryan? Are you in there?" I scrambled backward, nearly tripping over her heels, my arms wrapped around myself as though I could melt into the shadows. The zipper refused to budge, the lipstick clung stubbornly to my lips, and the mirror screamed the truth I wanted to bury. "Why, yeah," I croaked, my voice breaking. "I'm just, busy." The silence on the other side stretched too long. My pulse thundered. "Busy." Lily's tone lifted, suspicion curling into the word. "In my room." My throat dried up. I had no excuse, no script. I held my breath as her hand pressed harder against the door, testing the lock. Panic surged. I darted forward, twisted the lock, and pressed my back against the wood just as she tried to push. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "Nothing." My voice cracked again, too sharp, too panicked. The air was suffocating, heat burning my face as I glanced at the mirror again. The person staring back at me wasn't Ryan anymore. It was someone softer, messier, painted in clumsy makeup and trembling in heels. Someone halfway between shame and freedom. And then the sharp ding of my phone. Another text.
Emma.
"Already on my way, red heart. Can't wait to see you." My stomach plummeted.
No.
"Not now." The handle rattled again, harder this time. Lily's voice grew firmer. Ryan opened the door. I closed my eyes, pressing harder against the wood, praying for a miracle. My breaths came in short gasps. And then the worst sound in the world, footsteps retreating. Relief flickered until I realized they weren't leaving. She was going to get the spare key. I had seconds. Frantically, I rushed to the vanity, grabbing tissues to scrub at my lips, smearing crimson across my cheeks. The zipper still stuck, my nails scratching helplessly against the metal. I tugged the dress up and over my head, fabric tearing slightly as desperation took over. The stairs creaked again, Lily returning. But before she could reach the door, another sound split the air. The doorbell. I froze, blood draining from my face.
Emma.
Lily paused, footsteps halting mid-step. I heard her mutter under her breath, then pad quickly toward the stairs. The front door opened, and Emma's warm voice floated up. "Hey, is Ryan home?" I nearly collapsed. Two worlds colliding, one secret about to burst wide open. I pressed myself against the wall, heart hammering, listening to Lily's confused response. Yeah, he's here. Upstairs. But that one word rang louder than any scream. Emma's heels clicked against the floor as she stepped inside. "Thanks. I'll go up." Panic consumed me. I stumbled to the mirror, wiping furiously at the smeared makeup, tugging at the dress that clung stubbornly to me. My chest heaved as footsteps grew closer. The doorknob rattled again. This time it wasn't Lily's voice. "Ryan? It's me."
Emma.
My vision blurred. There was no escape. No time. My reflection stared back at me. Half boy, half girl, fully exposed. Her knock was gentle. "Can I come in?" My throat closed. My hands shook. I wanted to scream, to beg her not to vanish into thin air. But before I could speak, Lily's sharper voice cut through. "Ryan, open the door."
Now.
The two of them stood outside. The lock, the thin piece of wood between us, felt like paper. I staggered back, pressing my hands over my face, the sticky smear of lipstick smudging across my skin. Another knock. Firmer this time. "Ryan, what's going on?" Emma asked, her voice steady, but laced with concern. And then Lily's words, sharp and certain. "If you don't open this door, I will." I sank to my knees, tears stinging my eyes. The walls of secrecy I'd built for years were collapsing, brick by brick, under the weight of this moment. My chest felt like it would explode. The lock clicked. My head shot up in horror. Lily had the spare key. The door cracked open. Light spilled across the room, illuminating me, kneeling on the floor, drowning in her dress, my face a mess of lipstick and tears, her heels crooked on my feet. For one suspended second, silence reigned. Lily's gasp cut through it. Emma's breath hitched. And I couldn't move. The truth hung in the air, heavier than any words. The boy they thought they knew was gone, replaced by a stranger caught between shame and desire, between the past and something terrifyingly real. My secret was no longer mine, and there was no going back. The room was frozen in silence. Lily stood in the doorway, her eyes wide, her lips parting as though words had been stolen from her throat. Behind her, Emma's gaze locked onto me, her expression unreadable, a storm brewing beneath her calm surface. I wanted to vanish, to sink into the floor, to peel the dress off and erase the lipstick smears, to rewind time to a version of myself that had never crossed this line. But there was no undoing it. I sat there, trembling in the middle of Lily's room, her dress pooling around me, her heels clumsy on my feet, and my face streaked with crimson and powder. My secret wasn't a secret anymore. It was painted across me in smears and fabric. "Ryan." Emma's voice finally broke the silence, soft, unsure. What is this?" My throat locked. Words refused to form. My mouth opened, closed, opened again, but only a strangled breath escaped. Lily stepped further into the room, her shock twisting into something sharper. Her voice cracked with disbelief, almost anger. "You're wearing my dress." Her words stabbed deep, laced with betrayal. I dropped my gaze to the floor, unable to meet her eyes, shame burning hotter than fire. Emma took a step closer, her heels clicking softly against the floor. Her hand lifted slightly, as if she wanted to reach for me, but hesitated. "Ryan, please talk to us." But I couldn't. How could I explain years of secrets in a single breath? How could I make them understand the pull, the ache, the longing I'd hidden all my life? Tears blurred my vision. I didn't mean. My voice broke, trembling. I just wanted to know what it felt like. The confession hung heavy in the air. Lily's arms folded tightly across her chest, her hurt clear. "You went through my stuff. You." She stopped, shaking her head, disbelief tangled with confusion. Emma's eyes softened, but her jaw tightened. She was processing, calculating, deciding what this meant for us. For me. For us together. My chest heaved, panic clawing at my insides. Their silence pressed harder than any scream. Then Emma spoke carefully. "Ryan, is this the first time?" The question pierced deeper than I expected. My lips trembled, my silence answering louder than words ever could. Emma's breath hitched. Her hand dropped back to her side. The room felt smaller, suffocating. My reflection loomed behind them in the mirror, half-made, half-ruined, a stranger I barely recognized. Finally, Lily turned away, her voice low but cutting. I can't deal with this right now. She brushed past Emma and disappeared down the hallway, her footsteps sharp, retreating. The sound of her door slamming shut jolted me, the echo lingering like a wound. Emma remained, standing in the doorway, watching me with eyes full of conflict. Love, confusion, suspicion, fear, they all swirled together. She opened her mouth, then closed it. A beat passed. Then, finally, Ryan, she whispered my name like a plea. Do you want to be her? The question shattered something inside me. I looked up at her, my lips trembling, the weight of everything pressing down until breathing itself hurt. And then, before I could answer, the sound of Lily's footsteps thundered back down the hall. The door slammed open again, her phone in her hand, her eyes blazing. Emma, don't listen to him. She stopped mid-sentence, her gaze darting between me and Emma, her chest rising and falling with fury. Emma stiffened, torn between us, her jaw tightening as if she was preparing herself for a decision she didn't want to make.
And
I could only sit there, trapped in my sister's dress, my heart splintering, my future dangling on a knife's edge. The room held its breath, the weight of 3 lives colliding in one impossible moment. And then, darkness. The screen of the story fades here, the audience left suspended in the unbearable tension of what comes next.